An unusual childhood unfolds, ordinary enough until the world comes to an end. Few films these days attempt a simple, singular character journey, and this story casts itself as an old-fashioned tale about a young man finding himself. One figure gets tracked down the rabbit hole in what grows into a distinctive coming-of-age arc. Humanity's fall from the top of the food chain evokes a return to a more primitive, survivalist existence, with people pushed underground to hide from new creatures that have taken over the planet. The battle for the surface has been lost, leaving no place for mankind on land. Losing the top spot on the food chain is anything but lucky. Guidance arrives about turning back and lifting his head at the right moment during filming. Reading the script reportedly felt like stumbling onto a role built to be played, admired for how helpless the character seems. Commitment to the part follows soon after. He emerges as a person in his mid-20s who still behaves like a kid, someone who never truly got the chance to come of age. An offer of help meets resistance, followed by an accusation of being unable to handle something and a retort about being shaken. Others tag him as a little scaredy cat, yet underneath that label sits a sweet kid who only wants to be good, heroic, and brave, to protect and stay close to the people he loves even though he cannot. He comes across as a natural artist, not particularly skilled at first, simply expressing himself through what he does. A question surfaces about the reason for a beard, explained as a visual device built into the film. As everyone around him ages and pairs off, he turns into something like a ninth wheel within his bunker community. Loved by the group and loving them in turn like family, he has never had anyone of his own. A greeting exchange follows as two characters reconnect over the radio after 7 years apart at a moment when reality finally sets in. Another colony member is lost, attacks intensify and multiply, and a decision follows that if the world is ending anyway, one attempt at reaching out is worth taking. A dog appears as the first to save the central character on the surface, after which the two become a team. Having lost an owner in the apocalypse, the dog and the man in need of a partner form what amounts to a perfect marriage, a kid in over his head paired with an experienced companion showing him the ropes. The dog turns into his companion, soulmate, and source of bravery. Australian Kelpies come across as intelligent, versatile, agile, and athletic, known for loyalty and companionship. Multiple animals always share a role, so each can rest when needed. The lead dog shares an unusually intense, real-life bond with the actor playing opposite it, cited as the strongest off-camera bond experienced in years of work with animals and actors. Training challenges included getting the dog to bite a frog's tongue and to pull at trouser fabric to drag a person away from a berry bush. Even though neither animal is naturally aggressive, despite aggressive moments appearing in the story, an affinity for interviews is mentioned in passing. An instruction rings out to use a rope properly, looping it around a foot and holding on. A tense exchange follows, ending with a command to finish something off. Two surface warriors enter the story as characters encountered along the way, credited with saving a life multiple times even after parting ways. Most people move into bunkers, yet some remain topside by circumstance, having survived that way ever since bunker space is limited and some are forced or choose to stay on the surface. Guidance covers what can and cannot be eaten and what to watch out for, including amphibian-like creatures known to hide and lure prey in before swallowing it whole. One of the surface dwellers lost her whole family at a young age before joining a partner and becoming a lifelong team, proof that someone small can still take on dangerous work involving monsters. A name rings out, followed by a moment of disbelieving recognition between two people. The appeal of the role lies in the chance to play a character across a long span of time. The character first appears at 17, fresh and wide-eyed, then again 7 years later after the apocalypse has reshaped her into someone quite different. Meeting again as changed people offers a compelling contrast. No longer able to think of herself, she now focuses entirely on caring for everyone else, and the reunion unsettles her. A leak surfaces in the main line with complaints about fresh water spilling across a beach, followed by a quick acknowledgement and promise to help. She lives among 20 elderly residents in a place called the Old Colony, thrust into a caretaking role that demands helping with everything. Her sense of humor has darkened by the time they meet again. Reaching her finally knocks the wind out of him somewhat, since other survivors have arrived intending to take her and her colony somewhere safer. A question lingers over whether she might be drawn to one of these newcomers, or whether he simply offers exactly what she needs at that point. A remark about homebrewed beer draws a knowing response. Jealousy arises toward a figure admired by everyone in her colony, followed by a realization that there may be no place for him there. A question about who captains the yacht gets answered with a formal introduction, a retired officer of the Royal Australian Navy, known to friends simply as Cap. Cap seems unthreatened by the other man's journey, staying focused entirely on completing his own mission while still respecting his courage and instincts. No mission, it turns out, outranks love. A farewell gets exchanged, with a need expressed to return and check on the colony's safety. The parting carries a bittersweet weight, since duty pulls one back to help his people, while the other must remain to care for those depending on her, even as feelings for him persist. Both have changed so much on their respective journeys that they now stand equipped to pursue whatever they choose, leaving open the possibility that they might still find their way back to each other. A promise to return and find her follows, met with a brief insistence that it had better happen. Arrival prompted uncertainty about how the film could possibly get made in this location until Dan Henna and location manager Duncan Jones led a tour that uncovered a world perfectly suited for the movie. The project depended heavily on its setting, requiring visuals that appeared big, amazing, and wild, precisely what the script called for. Filming in California, where the story is actually set, was ruled out because passing aircraft overhead would have broken the illusion. Wild, untouched pockets of Australia provided the needed backdrop instead. The goal centered on creating a sense of scope and grandeur without slipping into artificiality, a balance Lachlan understood how to strike. Early conversations between Michael and the production aimed for a grounded, relatable world, one not too different from the present, except for having regenerated in the absence of people. Color and overgrown grass entered the picture to reflect a lush, thriving landscape rather than a gloomy one, since nature flourishes strangely when human activity stops. Filming took place on a magnificent inland cattle farm, where gum trees echoed parts of California, and the Australian landscape offered a futuristic, otherworldly quality believable enough to host any imagined creature. The first read of a script marks the most important moment, sparking intuitive visions of environments before those first images get jotted down. A subsequent meeting with the director turns into a kind of dance, as the director brings a separate personal vision to the table. Excitement arises from wondering whether certain ideas can be executed, met with confident reassurance that nothing about the concept poses a problem. The Frog Pond house holds eggs from a particularly huge frog, currently being bedded in and coated with slime, elements destined to become part of the monster's appearance. The motel stands as the production's one major nighttime environment set within a derelict space. The MAV-1's robot brings the location back to life for Joel, rendered so convincingly that the fiberglass construction, the actress performing the lines, and the puppeteer operating it all fade from notice, leaving only MAV-1's, making a confined space feel like home to 20 people, and a happy one at that, comes down to giving each inhabitant an occupation and a hobby to prevent madness from setting in. Preserving a sense of everyday life mattered greatly, even within a setting far removed from ordinary existence, achieved by weaving in familiar elements the audience could recognize from their own world. The bunker where the story begins includes a shaft leading to the surface. Two further levels once extended deeper, but have slowly flooded due to leaks, leaving only the top section usable. Along one wall sits a stock of long-lasting food supplies. Additional stores include carrots and similar produce, along with mushrooms used to brew a weak, unpleasant ale known as the Devil's Drink. Weapons turn up, and the find gets announced to the group. Salvaged materials gathered from things left behind become shields and makeshift weapons, including one piece taken from a broken motorbike. A small hydroponics setup, powered by an added light, grows leafy greens, while dried monster meat serves as the main source of protein. Creating an environment where actors can enter and immediately understand their characters ranks among the most rewarding parts of each day. Building out a person's daily life piece by piece allows props that tell that individual story. An ocean dream stems from a loved one's presence there. A chandelier represents the only item carried from a mother's home, and a stroller with a rocking crib belongs to a baby named Claire. The first bunker encountered was built for a vaguely defined post-apocalyptic world, while a second bunker presented the challenge of feeling distinct at a glance despite serving the same function as a safe haven. That second space developed into a former World War I and World War II storage bunker, partly excavated and shored up for mining, with a gathering room at its center built around an original cave fissure extending up into the mountain. Surprise greets the discovery of a beach within the bunker world, a result of Dan Henna's creativity and ingenuity in transforming what had been an ordinary park, complete with grass and benches, into a full beach cove using imported sand. Despite the appeal of natural coves, practical concerns like tides made an alternative necessary, leading to the construction of a protected cove feel that could stay maintained safely for 2 weeks. The setup became a favorite among the crew and stands as the longest single location used throughout the film, built with 600 tons of imported sand and set for dismantling within about 3 weeks, after which the turf will be restored and no trace of the production will remain. A call to action marks the start of filming a scene for a production whose ambition clearly outpaces its budget, a quality embraced rather than resisted. A genuine sense of fun and freedom allows ideas to shine and make a real difference within the film's world, encouraging boldness and adventurousness in the choices made.